A new report just came out that lists Cardano and Solana as number 1 and number 2 as the favorite cryptocurrencies among institutional investors, ahead of Bitcoin, ahead of Ethereum, ahead of every single cryptocurrency out there. So in today's video, we're going to talk about exactly what is going on with the overall crypto market, because there are 3 technical indicators that are looking extremely bullish right now for overall crypto. After that, we're going to talk a little bit about this new report. We're going to break down everything you need to know with regards to institutional investors, Cardano and Solana. And at the end of the video, we have an exciting announcement from Charles Hoskinson. He came out after the Alonzo upgrade, and he said something very interesting about Cardano versus Solana, Ethereum, and which one he thinks will win. And I think you're really going to be surprised by this. So if you guys enjoy this sort of content, well then please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on the bell notifications, and also don't forget to check out our Patreon group using the link down below. Make sure to grab one of our 5 spots left. You get access to the $700,000 portfolio on Robinhood, the $200,000 portfolio on Webull, a couple of 7-figure crypto portfolios, and also access to the newly redesigned Discord chat. We've been having a great time over there talking about exclusive research reports, talking about buy and sell alerts, and everything else going on with the markets. But anyways, let's start off by talking about a couple of very important things that are going on with the overall crypto market before we dive deeper into Cardano and Solana. So first of all, the entire crypto market is sitting at a $2.1 trillion market cap. This is important because we've been able to maintain that $2 trillion or higher market cap for a while now. But the most interesting thing and most exciting thing happening in crypto right now is with regards to 3 technical indicators with Bitcoin, because this shows us exactly how people are feeling about the market, and they are very, very bullish, indicating that we're going to see record highs for all cryptocurrencies very soon. So the first thing is something called the golden cross. The golden cross is where the 50-day moving average crosses above the 200-day moving average. This is on the daily chart, and we had thought this was going to happen. We thought this was the sure thing, but then all of a sudden we saw whales manipulate crypto, and we saw a big correction take place where Bitcoin's price went from about $53,000 per coin all the way down to almost $43,000 per coin in a matter of a couple of hours. We saw that happen, and then this golden cross was looking a little less likely. But now we're starting to see that Bitcoin's price is rebounding above the line, and if we do see this golden cross happen, historically, it has been a sign that we are entering a longer-term bull market, and for traders, this is a very, very optimistic indicator. One of the best and most optimistic indicators we could have for crypto is when we see this 50-day moving average cross above the 200-day moving average. So we're going to make sure to keep an eye out on this, but it's looking like it's going to happen within the next day or so, just because of where Bitcoin's price is. You can see Bitcoin's price has risen significantly. Now we're almost at $47,000 per coin. And if we stay here, we are going to see this golden cross happen. Second thing with the overall market is with regards to Bitcoin supply on exchanges. This has been a trend that we've continued to see happen over the last couple of months, but just within the last couple of days, we have seen that Bitcoin exchange reserves, so the amount of Bitcoin held on exchanges, has reached an all-time low. This is an extremely bullish sign for crypto. This shows us that people are holding their Bitcoin, they're taking it off of exchanges, and they have no plans of selling it anytime soon. So they're very bullish on it long term, the people who do own Bitcoin. Not only this, but also according to, you can see this is a chart from CryptoQuant. You can see that as we see less and less Bitcoin on exchanges, the moment we start to see people buy more, we're going to see something called a sell-side supply crisis, where there is simply not enough Bitcoin on exchanges to handle the demand. So think about it. If there's only X amount of Bitcoin on exchanges and people want to go ahead and buy it, well, it's going to push the price up, and we are very likely going to see a squeeze in Bitcoin's price right back up to $50,000 per coin and potentially to new highs because of this supply crisis that is currently happening. So that is a very, very optimistic indicator for crypto as well. And the third thing going on is with an indicator called SOPR. This is an indicator for crypto. It's a classic metric for determining oversold periods on Bitcoin markets, among a couple of other things. And the interesting thing here is that for the very first time since July, we saw that this indicator, SOPR, has flipped into the green, into the buy, and it's signaling that we are in a buy zone for crypto. So this is very, very important, because last time we saw this happen, we saw Bitcoin's price go from around $30,000 per coin, $28,000 per coin, all the way up to $53,000 per coin in a matter of a couple of weeks. That was the last time we saw this indicator flash a buy. And we're seeing the exact same thing happen now. You can't really see it on the chart because it just happened, but the very last line in this chart is a green line showing that we are finally in the buy zone. So this is very, very exciting. We're seeing these three indicators for crypto that are all pointing to record highs, all very optimistic, and all are showing that this overall sentiment and overall direction of the market is looking very, very good right now. Next thing I want to talk about is with regards to Cardano and Solana, because this is the main thing I want to go over in this video. The other day we spoke briefly about this new report from CoinShares. They come out every single week showing inflows and outflows from digital asset investment products, and I want to go a little bit deeper, talk about some specific details with this report about Cardano and Solana. So first of all, overall with the report, we saw that Bitcoin saw $0.2 million of inflows, relatively stayed flat, nothing really changed. Ethereum saw outflows, minus $6.3 million in outflows. And then we saw Solana lead the way with $49.4 million of inflow. Cardano coming in at number 2 with $3.5 million of inflow, followed by Ripple with 3.1. So the three highest in terms of inflows from institutional investors into digital asset investment products were number 1, Solana, clear winner with $49.4 million of inflows. Number 2 was Cardano with $3.5 million of inflows. And number 3 was Ripple with $3.1 million. So the important thing with this report is that we have seen a complete shift in institutional investors. Previously, they had always been putting money into Bitcoin. They'd always been putting money into Ethereum. But now for the very first week, we have seen this not be the case at all. And we are seeing that Solana is by far the clear choice among institutional investors. Institutional investors poured $49.4 million into Solana in the week ending September 6th, for the week of September 6th. And this is really important because this is just a recent change. This isn't something that has happened over the last couple of months. This is a recent change. We have seen that over the year to date, institutional inflows into Solana digital asset products has been $74 million. Last week alone, we had 50 million. Think about that. Last week alone, there was $50 million. The whole entire year to date was 74 million. So we have seen a clear shift in institutional demand moving towards coins like Cardano, Solana. These are ranked number 1 and 2. In terms of Cardano, it didn't perform as well, but still over the last year, we have, year to date, we have seen $65 million of inflows into Cardano. So when I'm looking at this, it makes me think, why are institutional investors picking Cardano, Solana, Polkadot even, Ripple over Ethereum and Bitcoin? Why are they doing this? Is it just that they no longer believe in Bitcoin? Do they think there's more upside? And me personally, what I figured out and what I've learned from looking at all these reports is that ultimately right now, DeFi is going to win. DeFi is trying to take over the entire financial world. So what institutional investors are realizing is that Ethereum isn't going to be the clear winner. Solana isn't going to be the clear winner. Cardano isn't going to be the clear winner. One of them, it's possible, but the most likely thing that's going to happen is that we're going to see all of DeFi continue to grow, continue to expand. And for that reason, they want to make sure they're in coins that are maybe a little bit smaller right now, like Cardano or Solana. And they want to make sure they have exposure to other major players in the space, because everyone says Cardano's an Ethereum killer or Solana's an Ethereum killer. But ultimately, one of them doesn't have to win. They're all going to end up working together, all eventually going to be interconnected. And for that reason, like me personally, I like to bet on DeFi altogether. And we're seeing institutional investors do the exact same thing. Yes, the last couple of weeks, They've poured a lot of money into Solana, but overall, I think it's just them trying to get exposure to Cardano, Solana, and Ethereum pretty evenly. They want to have more of an even exposure to all three of these to make sure they can capture the upside rather than just being all into Bitcoin or all into Ethereum. They want to make sure they have exposure to other major players that are currently developing and growing in the space. And then lastly, this also relates directly to what Cardano's founder, Charles Hoskinson, had to say in an interview just the other day. After the Alonzo upgrade, he came out and spoke about something called the Wi-Fi moment for crypto. And what he said, this relates exactly to what institutional investors are doing and my exact investment strategy. So what he said is that he doesn't believe any blockchain will be dominant in the years to come. He said even the so-called Ethereum killers like Cardano are not going to be dominant. Like there's not going to be one single dominant blockchain in years to come. Even though he's the founder of Cardano, he came out and said this. He said, much like when the internet became part of daily life, consumers ceased to question which manufacturer made some key pieces of hardware that made connectivity possible. He says, you're not asking, is that a Samsung router? Is that an Apple router? He's like, you just care, do you have internet access? You don't care who like what company is providing that internet access. You're just like, do you have internet access? And he says he hopes and he thinks the same thing is going to happen with crypto. He says that whether it's Cardano infrastructure, Ethereum infrastructure, Solana infrastructure, Bitcoin infrastructure, his hope is that in the future, and what he thinks is going to happen is that no one's going to care if it's on one or the other. Ultimately, they're all going to be interconnected. There's going to be bridges that allow people to move from one to the other, move projects from one to the other. And ultimately, he thinks that we're just going to see a collective increase in the values of all of these coins rather than just seeing one win. And that's what he called the so-called Wi-Fi moment. He says where blockchain and access to the technology becomes so consumer friendly and so easy that it's just like the Wi-Fi moment where it just works no matter what blockchain you are. You can move from one to the other without even realizing. And the only people that are really going to think about, are we using Cardano? Are we using Solana's Are we using Solana? Are we using Ethereum? Are we using Bitcoin infrastructure? He said the only people that are really going to think about that are going to probably be businesses, governments, and people who just care about the technology behind it. But ultimately, he thinks that overall, we're going to see all of these continue to grow exponentially, and we're going to come to a so-called Wi-Fi moment in, the years to come. So that is how I've been treating my investment strategy as well. I've been investing in a lot of the major DeFi players like Ethereum, Cardano, Solana, EOS, and a lot of the ones that are competing that have fast growing infrastructures, even Polkadot. So that is the way I've been playing it. That looks to be exactly what institutional investors are doing right now, as Cardano, Solana, Ethereum, and Polkadot are some of their top cryptos. So I'm going to continue to do this, but I want to just go over and talk about this institutional report from CoinShares. Very interesting data, and I think what Charles Hoskinson had to say lines up exactly with what institutional investors are doing and lines up exactly with my and our investment strategy. So anyways, that's what's going on with crypto. Hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please be sure to like, subscribe, check out our Patreon group for additional content and for our Discord. And hope you guys have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you in the next episode. See you guys.